Episode 1. Welcome to the first session of this series. We Belong to Each Other is a collaboration with Engineering Ministries International for this year's Seattle Design Festival. For our first session in this series, we have a personal story focusing on the topic of breath and time, written by Dustin Stoddart, a philosophy teacher and writer based in Seattle, Washington. We hope you enjoy it.
This is time and breath. In a crisis, reflection becomes a luxury, something easily dispensable. Crises are times of action, and yet I have been told the most significant action I can take is to stay home. Here I stand, pressed to act, yet only in the form of inaction, feeling that my power is in my response, but with only a few small things remaining under my control: what to do with my body, where to direct my mind. These, too, are complicated. I am frantic to discover who I am and what my role should be. I know that I cannot change the events of the pandemic or resolve the unrest that's taking place. Not on my own, at least. Not to mention the lack of time. For some reason, I continue to feel as if I don't have enough time. It's easy to see how time rushes along outside of me, effortlessly, inevitably forward, and less easy to give attention to the way it moves inside of me, how it can be measured in heartbeats, in inhalation and exhalation. Some days time feels in bloom, others just bloated with new imperatives. Learn a hobby, start eating right, read more, get outside, stay productive. At first, when I was still optimistic, I hoped isolation would manifest itself as perfect detachment from the outside world, a space to reconcile my jumbled priorities, a moment to pause, a sort of quarantine nirvana. Instead, I addressed everything at once, the things inside of me and the circumstances outside. I wanted to be a suburban yogi and a social media warrior, a clarifier and a questioner, an ally and an individualist, a pragmatist and a freedom fighter. Of course, this was impossible. In the end, I was just someone locked in his apartment, alone, with nothing to do. That was when I retreated. Some mornings I never left the bed. Some nights I never left the screen. If I closed my eyes long enough, I thought I might wake to find the world settled back into its former state. If I pried them open, I thought maybe they would feel more full. Most of my life I've treated time this way, trying to grasp it with a closed fist, forgetting that unless I hold it tenderly in the cup of my palm, it will slip effortlessly, indifferently, between my fingers. It's no coincidence that as the world moves in chaotic new rhythms, we find our internal rhythm disrupted as well. Is it confinement? Or is it in the sense that everything has slowed, that the world itself is contracting? Even the act of breathing is not as simple as it used to be. That simple rise and fall which anchors us in our bodies, which is independent from the ticking of clocks and coffee machines, bus schedules and evening appointments, is now something to be done sparingly, from behind layers of cloth and closed doors. It has been made a kind of twisted privilege, something we watch wide-eyed as it is stolen from neighbors, brothers, sisters, and friends in high definition. How deeply can any of us breathe with those three terrifying words continually etching themselves across our sidewalks, our cities, our frayed collective consciousness? I can't breathe. I can't breathe. For this fundamental act of life to become our most dreadful health risk, for this inextricable movement of the body to be debated across legislatures and dinner tables, social media and the streets? Could there be anything more absurd? Could there be a more vivid signal of crisis? These days I feel like a child in the backseat of a car begging to return home. I see clouds and telephone poles buzzing by the window, the words, we're nearly there, echoing from the driver's seat like a broken record. The difference is, as a child, I knew what home was. Even if I could not see where we were going or how long it would take, I knew I would arrive someplace familiar. Now I know I can never go back, no more than I can breathe the same air twice. It is not the same air, after all, and I am not the same person. For those of us lucky enough to even have a home, its embodied priorities and values have been reframed. It might now be a workplace as well as a place of rest, a digital social sphere as well as a place of isolation, a node of consistency that is itself nevertheless in constant flux. It begs the question, what is the purpose of design in today's world? To date, we have prioritized speed, scale, and product. Do we as designers have the courage to pause? To look at what we've done and ask, is it working? What are our values? And have we as a community upheld our responsibility to maintain them? Design at its core is a discipline centered on human connection and flourishing. How do we truly align work with these common values? Can we look beyond the lens of our profession, the deadlines, the economics, the collaborative roadblocks, and see the people behind it all? I know that these questions are easier stated than explored. There is nothing simple about truly seeing another human being for who they are, or about understanding what they really need, much less an entire community. I often forget my own far-sightedness, believing I can see others clearly when I am not even able to make out the contours of myself. I am always wondering, am I part of the problem or part of the solution? Am I taking steps forward? Amidst all the uncertainty, I have to remind myself that even treading water against the current of time is a uniquely human power, that sometimes a pause, a breath, and a step back are exactly what's needed to see the way ahead.
Thank you for joining us for the first session of this series. We'd love to hear your thoughts, ideas, and feelings about your experience. Be sure to check out the survey on EMI's festival webpage to continue the conversation. To learn more about this year's Seattle Design Festival, go to designinpublic.org and check out the full lineup of events happening August 15 through 23rd, all exploring the theme About Time. EMI is a nonprofit Christian development organization that brings together teams of volunteer architects, engineers, surveyors, and construction managers. We use our skills to serve people worldwide through the design of hospitals, schools, water systems, and many other facilities. Check out the opportunities and adventures listed on our website and reach out to us today. Together, we are designing a world of hope.